Good day, class. Today we're going to do this instrumental drawing. It is the drawing of your metal sheet, which you will need to cut out to make your metal tool tray. And so after today, this is what I want your page to look like. You will need your T-square, your sheet of paper with your instructions, and your 2 set squares, and a sharp pencil, a sharp 2H pencil. You might also need a rubber and a sharpener. I'm going to be using my pens so you can see my lines. Now the first thing that you need to do is something that I hope that you have already done, is produce your title block. So I'll quickly produce my title block, placing the 0 on the bottom, put a tiny mark on 10, a tiny mark on 15, on 20 and 25. From the side, we shall put a mark 10 millimeters from the side and 10 millimeters from this side. 20 to 19 is 10 millimeters. Now on each side we shall do a very light line. A line light as can be, so light you can barely see. On that side and this side, through those marks. These give us a guideline for where we put our title block. This line here is a nice thick line. Make sure you hold your T-square firmly down the bottom from the left side to the right, turning your pencil all the way. We have one thick presentation line. Through the top mark we're going to do our next line. Twist. Oh, the T-square moved. I wasn't holding it firmly enough. Hold it firmly. Twirl your pencil as you go along from one side to the other. Presentation line on the left, presentation line on the right. 100 millimeters in, put a tiny mark. 100 millimeters in, put a tiny mark. Same on the other side. 100 millimeters in. That gives us these marks. Now always make sure your set square is connected to your T-square, so we're getting horizontal and vertical lines, or vertical lines. Through the middle, through our middle 2 marks, we're going to produce a very light line through here and through here. On the left, in neat capital letters, goes your name. Now don't put the words name, write your name. So if your name is Stuart, write Stuart. If your name is Muhammad, you'll write Muhammad there. Here is where the title goes. The title of this page is Tool Tray. And you'll see how my letters are neat, capital, crisp, black letters. In this box goes the scale. And the scale of this drawing is going to be 1 to 1. That means it's going to be life size. The size that you draw it is going to be the size that it will be in the end. And over here goes the date. And you will write the 8th of August. Okay, now this, we are ready now to do our drawing. And this drawing is produced with center lines. Here you don't see the center lines, but we're going to put in the center lines. And that's very important because we want this drawing not only to be on the center of the page, but we want it to actually fit on the page. So the drawing isn't over here or over here. Our drawing needs to go on the metal sheet and not off it. And so the first thing that we're going to do is put tiny cross there and there, from corner to corner, corner to corner. Here's where I find my center. So through this line I'll put a center line, and that means it goes long, short, long, short, long, short. Now all the longs should be approximately the same size. All the shorts should be approximately the same size. And all the gaps should be approximately the same size. Once again, I'm going to produce a line through the center. Long, short, long, short, long. There. Now I have my two lines of symmetry, mirror lines if you like, from which I measure. Now that's very important. I always measure from the center, or from the center. Now our first measurement is 405. So what is the middle of 405? Well, you don't get any points for just doing it in your head. So we can go 405 divided by 2. That means we'll have half on one side and half on the other. And I see the measurement here is 202.5. So I'll put that aside and this aside. Measuring from the middle line, I want 200 plus 1, 2.5. So I've got the line going through 202 and a half. That is between 202 and 203. I'll just take my t-square away so I can put the tiniest mark on 0. I'm going to do it again for this side. 0 on the center mark, and over here I will put 200 plus 1, 2.5. Now through those tiny marks I can produce a very light line going up through that mark all the way. Again, I'm going to put tiniest mark up through the mark on the right. All the way. It's alright. The next measurement that I'm going to do is 195. Half of it's going to be on the top, half of it's going to be on the bottom. So what's 195 divided by 2? We can work it out in our brains or just use the calculator. 195 divided by 2 is 97.5. So let's use the ruler, measuring from the middle. I want to put it like this. 0 going through the line, measuring up 97, 90, 567.5. Make sure you look over the set square so you can get very precisely that mark. 96, 97.5. put the mark on 0. Through those marks once more, the T-square is used to produce some very light lines. Now what this gives us is our square. And so this is the not much smaller than what our metal sheet will look like. Now we've got these tabs on the side, and we can do these tabs, and we see that these tabs are 10 millimeters. So let's do those tabs on the side. This one is, from that side is 10, and from this side is 10. Let's put our very light lines through there. Make sure you use light lines, because we're going to come in later, use our presentation lines. Now let's do this one. This says it's 25. What's half of 25? We don't have to use, well, we could work it out in our brain, but we don't have to. Just use a calculator. 12.5. So 12.5 on one side. I'm going to use this line to make sure it's going exactly straight up and down. So this line here is in the middle of 12 and 13. That means it's 12.5 on one side, and 25 is 12.1 on the other. See how the mark is on 0 and 25? It's 25, and it's exactly running through the middle, this center line. Okay. It's the same on the other side. So what we can do is a little line there and a little line over here. A little line here, a little line over here. And that gives us our tab on the sides. Now we shall do this one, 125. So 125 divided by 2 will mean 62.5 on this side and 62.5 on this side. Put 0 in the center. 61.5 on that side, and 61.5 on this side. Mark on 0. And here I can do a very light line across here, very light line across here, very light line across here, and across here. Just thicken up that line a little bit so we can see. Okay, so we're progressing along nicely. This remainder looks like it's 25 and 10. So we can test that. 25, and yes, we've got 10 remainder. So I'll put that line through here. And 25 remainder. This line through here, and that gives us the width of our tabs on the side. Okay, and I think that means we've done all of these measurements so far. The only ones we have left is 270 and 25 on each side. So what's 270 divided by 2? 135. So 135 on this side, measuring from this mark 135 and 135. So we have this line all the way and this line all the way. Our next measurement is 25 and 25 on this side. So from here, measuring from the center outwards, 25 and 25. Put a line all the way through the top, all the way across through that mark, which our mark is there. And now we've got these little tabs to do, and we see that the gap here is 5 millimeters and the gap here is 5 millimeters, and that gap there appears on here. Here is where the tab is going to be. So I'll just go down from here 5 and then up 5 with this one too, down 5 then up 5. And I'll bring these measurements all the way across to there, 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 and there. And this gives us all of our measurements for this. And so what I'm going to do is speed up the camera, and with my 0.3 pen or with your presentation lines, you're going to do a hard presentation line wherever we're going to put a cut line. Here we go. I just realized we've got these slight angles here on this guy, so I'm just going to use my 60-degree set square. I have an angle here, an angle here, an angle here, and an angle here. Okay, now I'm going to speed up the camera as I do the presentation lines. Now everything is marked out. We just have to be very careful as we move along, putting our set square firmly, holding it firmly as we produce these beautiful lines. Okay, so that is the outline for our tool tray. What's missing here is our bend lines or our fold lines. I know it looks a little bit different, but we have followed the measurements here, so we presume that it is right, even if it looks slightly different. So we're just going to do the fold lines here with some dotted lines. There we go. That is our instrumental drawing for our tool tray. And if your drawing looks like this, it's ready to be photocopied, and you can cut out the photocopy to make your paper model. When you do this on metal, the challenge will be you won't be doing it with a T-square or set squares. You'll just be doing it with a metal ruler and a pencil. that is the challenge for when you do it on metal alone. But with this complete, you've done today's work. I hope that this video has been instructful and helpful for you, and I will see you again next time.